Ladies and gentlemen, the secret word tonight is shoe. S-H-O-E.
Sure enough?
You bet your life. The more than 3,000 DeSoto Plymouth dealers of America present Groucho Marx in You Bet Your Life, the comedy quiz series produced and transcribed from Hollywood. And here he is, the one, the only... Groucho!
That's me, Groucho Marx. Well, here I am again with $1,500 for one of our couples tonight. Fenneman, who's first to try for it?
Groucho, just before we went on the air, our studio audience selected a young mother and a grandfather. And here they are, Mrs. Sherry Van Pelt and Mr. Frederick Hall. Meet Groucho Marx.
Well, welcome for the DeSoto Plymouth dealers. And if you say the secret word, you'll divide $100. It's a common word, something you have with you. A young mother and a grandmother. A young mother and a grandmother. No, a grandfather, huh? Mrs. Sherry Van Pelt. That's a pretty fancy name, isn't it? How old are you, Sherry?
18.
18, huh? And a mother?
Mm-hmm.
Land sakes, these new inventions they have today. Grandpa, Frederick Hall is your name. Is that right?
That's right.
Frederick Hall. Where are you from, Pappy?
I was originally from Massachusetts, born in Rockport, about 36 miles north of Boston. Came to Los Angeles in 1910.
Well, you're really an old settler, huh?
Almost a native son.
How old are you?
I'm 73.
73. Well, you don't look it. I thought you were about 60. What sort of work do you do, Mr.
Well, I'm at present practicing law. For 18 years, I was serving the city of Los Angeles as public defender up to 48.
Well, the city of Los Angeles can use all the defending you can get. Huh? What sort of work does your husband do, Sherry?
He's a machine operator for a television antenna manufacturer.
You say he's a machine operator?
Yes.
Uh-huh. And how'd you meet him?
Oh, we were
Was he
in
operating
school.
at the time? You met in school?
Yes.
You happily married?
Oh, yes. Go ahead.
Well, that's unusual. As a young mother, did you have any children?
Naturally.
Naturally, you say. Well, I'm glad to hear it. What you meant was that you couldn't be a mother unless you had children. Isn't that it?
Of course.
Well, that's not quite true. I've got children, and I'm not a mother. How many whippersnappers do you have? How many children do you have?
One. Girl.
A girl?
Mm-hmm.
And how old is this little girl?
1 year.
Did you give up a career to get married?
School.
You were glad to get out of the classroom, huh? What was there about your husband that swept you off your feet?
Oh, he was...
Could you talk a little bit louder?
Mm-hmm.
You look beautiful, but they'd also like to hear what you're saying out there. You'll either have to talk louder or do grinds or something. He was good looking?
Had a nice car. He was real smooth.
He was smooth, eh? What do you mean by smooth? You mean he hadn't started to shave yet? Grandpa, you're still over there, aren't you?
Oh, yes, I'm here.
Glad to hear it. It isn't often that old granddad lasts this long. Well, that's not the point. Let's get back to where we were. Huh? Do you have any children?
4. 2 boys, 2 girls.
Uh-huh. Grandchildren?
8.
Mm-hmm. Were any of your grandchildren named after you?
No, they were not. My youngest son married a bishop's daughter, and so they took the names of their children out of the Bible. They have Peter and Matthew, Luke, and Mark.
Well,
Now, the next one maybe Hezekiah, I don't know. Might be Rachel.
How long have you been married, Fred?
46 years.
Have you been happy all that time?
Absolutely.
46 years of marriage, 2 wars, a stock market crash. Yes, we have no bananas, and the thing. And through it all, I want to ask you one question. I want to ask you, why didn't you shoot yourself?
Well, I never was able to get a gun that I thought I could hold.
Now, what are the problems that confront a year-old bride?
Oh, mostly that she can't find any friends that are married that are that young.
Grandpa, are you still happy?
Still here.
What do you suggest? How can Sherry find some friends her age?
Well, I'd suggest perhaps joining some club, youthful membership.
You mean like the Campfire Girls?
That'd be good.
I was a Campfire Girl until my voice started to change right in the middle of Polly Wolly Doodle all the day. You belong to any clubs?
Yeah, I belong to the Elks.
The Elks, huh? Oh, that's so. How long have you been an Elk?
30 years.
Well, you're a fine-looking specimen. How much would you charge to hang over my fireplace?
Well, I might do it for consideration.
Now, what is the purpose of the Elks Club?
Well, primarily charity, and this year we're adopting the program of nationally of cerebral palsy. We initiated a program which we hope will be carried out throughout the United States.
Well, all this world needs is more people like you, Fred. Grandpa, you're still happy, aren't you?
Oh, yes, still happy.
Well, I'm happy that you're happy.
Well, I'm too
Confidentially,
happy.
now, in all your years of marriage, have you ever kissed anybody besides your wife?
Well, not seriously.
Well, you've got a wonderful opportunity right now, eh,
Oh,
Sherry?
boy.
Sherry, you wouldn't mind kissing a man who's old enough to be your great-grandfather, would you?
No.
Okay, here we go. Fred, you can take the other side, huh?
Okay, I'll do that.
Well, now let's get down to serious business. As though that wasn't, eh? Now, in just 1 minute, you're going to play your Bet Your Life for a chance at the $1,500 question. Right now, there's an important matter I want you to know about.
It's here. It's new. It's designed for you. DeSoto. DeSoto is the car that's a revelation to ride. DeSoto Plymouth dealers now presented nationwide. So drive a new DeSoto before you decide. The 51 DeSoto, that's a revelation to ride.
Yes, revelation is the word to describe the pleasure you'll get driving as well as riding in the great new 1951 DeSoto. All across the country, in every state and every city, car owners are proving this to themselves by getting behind the wheel of this proud new car. They're experiencing for the first time what riding comfort there is in DeSoto's brand new Oriflow shock absorbers and spring construction, as these wonderful new features level out the bumpiest roads. They're experiencing the thrill of the new higher-powered DeSoto engine with its extra get-up and go. They're relaxing on DeSoto's luxurious chair-high seats and knowing an entirely new feeling of security because of DeSoto's bigger brakes that stop you quickly and easily. And, of course, it's DeSoto that lets you drive without shifting. So no wonder, all over the country they're buying
The 51 DeSoto, that's a revelation to ride.
See it tomorrow, for sure.
All right, here we go. Now, let's see how high I can build you $20. You selected familiar words beginning with the letter C. Now, here's your first question. You have $20. How much are you going to risk?
10?
You're partners in this together now. $10? What do you call a student in a military or naval academy? It begins with the letter C.
Cadet.
A cadet is right.
You have $30.
You're flying high here, Pappy. You got $30. Remember, you're going for $1,500 tonight. How much of the 30 are you going to try?
Well, we'll try about 20, don't you think?
All right. What do you call the freightman's car that is attached to a train? It begins with the letter C.
Caboose.
Caboose is right.
Well, you're climbing. You have $50 now.
All right, you got $50. Here's your third question. How much are you going to try?
45.
That's right. Okay.
45. What do you call a crested bird of the parrot family? It begins with the letter C. Cockatoo is right.
Now you have $95.
Grandpa spent a lot of time in the woods, I think. He wasn't chasing elks all the time. Here's your last chance to beat the other couples. How much are you going to bet?
Okay. 80
How
bucks.
much?
80 bucks.
$80. What do you call the little colored pieces of paper thrown at parties and parades that begins with the letter C? Confetti is right.
And you wind up with a grand total of $175.
Stick around, Sherry. I'll see you later.
Well, Groucho, the secret word is still shoe. We invited some chefs from Mexican restaurants to the program tonight, and just before we went on the air, our studio audience selected Roque Valdivia. His partner is a housewife, Mrs. Kathleen Duffy. Folks, come in here and meet Groucho Marx.
Welcome to the DeSoto Plymouth Dealers. Say the secret word and you divide $100. It's a common word, something you have with you. Mrs. Kathleen Duffy. You're the housewife, huh?
Yes, sir.
Where are you from? That's
Corsicana, Texas.
Corsicana, Texas. It's needless to me to ask you what nationality you are. I mean, way back, I know you were born in this country. Kathleen Duffy is really a good old Irish name, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Can you speak Gaelic at all? Speak English?
A little.
Oh, that's enough for me, huh? Now, where is your native habitat?
I just told you.
It serves me right for using words I don't understand. What sort of work does your husband do?
He's a personnel manager for CPS.
CPS? Now, what is CPS?
Well, that's California Physician Service, Blue Shield.
Well, how'd you meet him? Were you introduced to him?
Well, there was more to it than that.
Well, I hope so, but... how'd you meet him, Katie?
Well...
I'll call you Katie, huh?
All right.
I named you after a railroad.
I was coming home one
I'll
afternoon.
make tracks for you later.
And as I came up the front walk, I saw this very nice-looking young man coming out the front door. And as he started down the front steps, I noticed that he had all of my silverware in his hands. And he explained to me that his mother had been having a dinner party, or was going to have one. She had called my neighbor and had asked if she could borrow the neighbor's silver. So he had come to what he thought was the neighbor's house, but had gotten into my house by mistake, and had picked up my silver and started out the door with it, and he wasn't a burglar at all.
Were you disappointed?
No.
You'll have to pardon me for being a little confused tonight. Somebody gave me a new boomerang for my birthday, and I've driven myself crazy trying to throw the old one away. What sort of work do you do, Mr. Valdivia? Is that
Mexican restaurant.
You're from a Mexican restaurant?
Oh, yes.
Well, buenas noches, señor.
Buenas noches, señor.
¿Cómo está?
Muy bien. ¿Y usted?
I'm fine. I speak Spanish fluently, huh? So be careful what you say. Where are you from, señor?
Yo vengo de la República Mexicana, León, Guanajuato, México.
Well, is that with coffee or just plain? What is the name of your establishment?
El Coyote Spanish Cafe, 105 North La Brea, Los Angeles.
Well, what do you serve in your restaurant?
Mexican food, dishes for Mexican
dishes?
Real Mexican dishes.
Could you serve me a tall one who likes the smell of a good cigar? I mean, specifically, what do you serve? Like chili con carne?
Enchiladas, chile rellenos, tacos, and huevo y jamón.
What time do you stop at Acapulco? Huh? Now, let's take them one. Did you ever hear the Mexican weather report? Chilly today and hot tamale? That's an old joke. Senor, why is Mexican food so hot?
Well, it runs back to the history of the Indians that started growing the chili. The chili is very hot. The country is very warm. And
country,
so
Mexico is a hot country.
Very hot country, Mexico.
That's odd, because some of my friends recently went to Mexico because it was too hot for them here in L.A. Well, thanks to you, too, I know a great deal about Mexican food. Now, let's see if you know a great deal about these questions. You've got to run your $20 into more than our other couples, and you'll get a chance at the $1,500. That's the DeSoto Plymouth Big Question. Penniman's off stage to remind our listeners how much the
young mother and the grandfather won $175.
See, I can give you $20. You selected fictional crime solvers. Here's your first question. You have $20. How much are you going to go for? Talk right up, Katie.
No, not too high. $10.
$10. $10?
Dollars.
$10, huh? All right. Sir Arthur Conan Doyle created what detective?
Sherlock Holmes.
Sherlock Holmes is right.
And you're on your way. You have $30.
All right, you got $30. You're going for $1,500 tonight. How much of the 30 are you going to bet?
25.
Talk up.
25.
25.
25. How much would that be in pesos?
Oh, that's a big figure, mister. I mean...
Well, you got a big figure, too. How much would that be in pesos?
I have to get my pencil. That's,
You have to get your pants off. What kind of talk is that? How much is that in pesos?
$1 is $8.
No, you figure it up. I'm not from Mexico, huh?
It's a lot of money.
Oh, it's a lot of money, huh? So, I'll damn biggest. Oil Dab Biggers created a portly Chinese detective who was the father of a large family. Who is it?
Charlie Chan.
Charlie Chan is right.
Now you're trying to $55.
All right, you got $55. Here's your third question. How much you going to bet?
50?
Talk up, Katie.
50.
50.
This is really the melting pot, isn't it?
50. 50. 50.
$50 you're going to bet? Now, how much is that in pesos? All right, Dashiell Hammett created a tough private detective with a secretary named Effie. He was also on the radio. Who is it?
Sam Spade.
Sam Spade is right.
Now you have $105.
That little Irish lass is a pretty shrewd cookie. Here's your last chance to beat the other couples. How much are you going to bet at 105?
Let's bet it all.
What?
Oh. Yes. Oh. Won't we bet all?
No! I want to have a car fare to go home.
I'll give it to you. Let's bet it all.
Katie will give you a car fare to go home.
Yes.
How much you going to bet?
Okay, how much?
Where do you live?
Where do you live? He lives in San Diego.
All right, let's bet it all.
Okay.
Yes.
You going to bet $105? Now, how much is that in Mexican peso?
You want to figure?
I want you to figure that
that's
out.
860 pesos. And, let's see, it's 860 is 900 and close to 1,000 pesos.
That is.
You'd be loaded in Mexico, huh?
I'd be a man over there.
You'd be a
mister,
big shot over
mister,
there.
Mister.
Okay, you'd be a mister. Here we go. Earl Stanley Gardner created a lawyer who solves crimes. His secretary is Della Street. Who is it?
Perry Mason.
Perry Mason is right.
You also won $210.
How much is that in pesos?
I think I'm going to have to get my pencil.
All right, we'll see you later, kids. You stick around now, huh?
Groucho, secret word is still shoe. We invited some airline hostesses and some jockeys to the program tonight. Just before we went on the air, our studio audience selected Miss Dorothy Goff, Mr. Gordon Glisson, and here they are. Folks, meet Groucho Marx.
Welcome, youngsters, to You Bet Your Life. You say the secret word, you'll divide $100. It's a common word, something you have with you. An airline hostess and a jockey, eh? Miss Dorothy Goff, is that right?
That's right.
Well, where are you from?
I'm from Seattle, Washington.
Uh-huh. And somebody out there from Spokane. You live in L.A. now, Dorothy?
Yes, I do.
Which of the airlines do you work for, Dorothy?
I work for Western Airlines.
Mm-hmm. You're the jockey, Gordon? I'll call you Gordon, huh?
Yes, sir.
Well, where are you from?
I'm from Winsboro, South Carolina.
Are you married?
No, sir.
How old are you, Gordon?
20.
20, yeah. What's your age, Dorothy?
I'm 22.
You're 20 and you're 22, huh? You want to know how old I am?
Yes, how old are you?
I'm not going to tell. No, I just wanted to see if you cared. How tall are you, Dorothy?
I'm 5'4.5".
And you, how tall are you, Gordon?
I'm about 4'11".
Say, you're just about the right size for each other. It's amazing how I get these perfect matches. You're a very attractive girl, Dorothy. Are all airline hostesses as pretty as you are?
Well, the company makes it a point to hire girls on the attractive side.
Well, I don't know which is your attractive side, but there's nothing... There's certainly nothing wrong with the one I'm looking at. Why do the airlines insist on attractive hostesses?
Well, they think it's good for business.
Well, it is. There's nothing like an attractive hostess to keep a man up in the air. Now, is there anything about your passengers, Dorothy, that annoys you?
Yes. Passengers who don't abide by the rules, such as...
Such as what?
Not fastening their seat belts and getting on board with liquor, smoking cigars and pipes, and are only supposed to smoke cigarettes.
You mean I can't smoke my cigar on your plane?
Well, we use discretion and...
Well, I use tobacco. I find it's far superior than discretion.
If you don't annoy the lady passengers, you may.
You mean I can smoke cigars if I don't annoy the lady passengers?
That's right.
Well, in that case, I won't smoke my cigar. I'd much rather annoy the women passengers. I didn't know there was a choice. By the way, Gordon, where do you do your riding?
Right now I'm riding at Santa Anita.
Uh-huh. Did you always ride at Santa Anita?
No, sir, I have ridden in practically every track in the country. And
Is that so? I'd like to see you ride the Santa Fe track to Albuquerque. Now, as a jockey, what about you, Gordon? I presume you've had many thrilling experiences, haven't you? What's the biggest thrill you ever had?
I guess one of the biggest thrills I ever had was being leading rider of the country last year.
You were the leading rider of the country?
Oh, yes.
Oh,
Yes, sir.
Oh, well, I'd have much more respect for you had I known that. I thought you were just an apprentice jockey. How about it, Dorothy? Are you beginning to feel romantically inclined towards this young squirt? Am I doing a good job of bringing you two together?
I think I like him a little older, a little taller, and more in my line of work.
I see. Gordon, is there good money in horse racing? For example, how much does a top jockey earn in a year?
Well, most of the top riders earn anywhere from $75,000 to $100,000 a year.
Really?
Yes, sir.
Were you aware of that, Dorothy?
No, I wasn't.
Gordon, as far as Dorothy is concerned, you just aged a couple of years. Added a couple of feet in height, and she just loves horses. Dorothy, I'm only kidding. I know you're not interested in a man who makes a paltry $100,000 a year.
No.
It's just chicken feed, a paltry $100,000. Paltry $100,000. Just chicken feed, a paltry $100,000. If you think you're going to escape from that joke, you're a man. By the way, that's from Animal Crackers. The Mexican weather report, chilly today and hot tamale. I didn't get any laugh at all. Didn't get much better this time either. I guess there's not much interest in the Mexican weather up here. Well, thanks to you two, I know all about horses and airplanes. And in the future, I'll be sure to keep both feet on the ground, and I hope you two are very happy together. Let's see how well you make out on the quiz. You run your $20 and more than the other couples, and you'll get a chance at the $1,500 question. I can't tell you how much the other couples won, but Fenneman's odd stage to remind our listeners.
The Mexican chef and the housewife are leading with $210.
Here we go. Let's see how high you can build your $20. You selected capitals of states. And here is Fenneman, the valiant. Now, how much you going to bet on the first question?
$5.
$5? What is the capital of Colorado?
Denver.
Denver's right.
Well, you're on your way. You have $25.
Remember, now you're going for $1,500 tonight. How much of your 15 you're going to bet on your second question?
No, 25.
25 they have. How much you going to bet on your second question? Shows you how much attention I pay to you.
20.
20?
What's it? 15.
15. What is the capital of South Carolina?
Columbia.
Columbia is right.
You have $40
You
now.
got $40. Here's your third question. How much you going to bet?
How much about 40?
20.
20. What is the capital of New Hampshire? Talk it over. Talk it over.
I don't know.
You've been flying the wrong route.
I have.
I'm sorry. It's Concord.
You now have $20.
Oh, well, you only got $20. Here's your last chance to beat the other couples. You're coming on the rail now. You're on the inside, and you're coming through there. Gordon, here's your last chance. What is the capital of New York?
Albany.
Albany is right.
You wind up with $40.
You wound up with $40, and that means that the
The
big...
Mexican chef and the housewife with $210.
How much is that in pesos?
Get the chance at the DeSoto Plymouth $1,500 question.
See you later, kid. Stick around for the big money, yeah?
It's here. It's new. It's designed for you. DeSoto.
Yes, here's a car that's really different this year. The 1951 DeSoto. With more new beauty, more new power, more new riding comfort than ever before. Every luxury, every convenience, every economy has been designed into this finest of fine DeSotos to give you the driving pleasure you've always dreamed about. Yet the new DeSoto, the car that's really new and different, costs very little more than the very lowest price cars. And it lets you drive without shifting. DeSoto gives you chair-high seats, big 12-inch brakes, waterproof ignition, new type automatic choke, increased visibility, and most wonderful of all, the ride's a revelation, thanks to the amazing cushioning action of the new Oriflow shock absorbers. The news is getting around fast. DeSoto is the really new car of 1951. That's why folks all over are flocking to see
The 51 DeSoto, that's a revelation to ride.
And remember, all dealers who sell DeSoto also sell the great new Plymouth. Here comes the winning couple, Groucho. The Mexican chef and the housewife all set for the DeSoto Plymouth $1,500 question.
You know, if you should win this money, you're going to have to tell me how much this is in pesos. Well, maybe you better throw it. All right, here we go. Here we go for $1,500. I give you 15 seconds to decide on a single answer between you. Think carefully, and no help from the audience. Here it is. A girl named Mary Ball became the mother of a famous American. For $1,500, tell me, who was Mary Ball's son? All right, what is the answer you two have decided upon?
Douglas Burbank, Jr.
No, I'm sorry. It's George Washington. You're away off. The correct answer is George Washington. So that means the big question next week will be worth $2,000. Well, you lost the big money, but you won how much?
$210.
$210 in the quiz. Congratulations, and thanks to both of you and to all of our contestants on the show tonight.
Be sure to tune in again next Wednesday night at this time for the Groucho Marx Show, when the big question will be worth $2,000. And don't miss Groucho's television show, also presented by the DeSoto Plymouth Dealers of America. And remember, all dealers who sell DeSoto also sell Plymouth. Two great cars, both products of the Chrysler Corporation.
Good night, folks, and remember, now just be sure to visit your DeSoto Plymouth dealer.
Folks, here's a reminder from the National Safety Council. Start your car with your garage doors open and warm up outside. You Bet Your Life, transcribed from Hollywood, is produced by John Goodell. Directed by Robert Dwan and Bernie Smith. Music by Jerry Fielding. This is George Fenneman signing off for the more than 3,000 DeSoto Plymouth dealers from coast to coast. Ladies and gentlemen, the secret word tonight is Sky. S-K-Y.
Really?
You bet your life. The more than 3,000 DeSoto Plymouth Dealers of America present the best of Groucho. Yes, friends, it's a Groucho summertime. By popular demand from your letters, from rating histories, and the acclaim of critics, the DeSoto Plymouth Dealers bring you selected shows from You Bet Your Life, the comedy quiz series produced and transcribed from Hollywood. Groucho Marx is on vacation, friends, and will return in the fall. Until then, It's fun and laughs each week this summer as we proudly present some of the best of Groucho's past shows. And here he is, the one, the only...
Groucho! That's me, Groucho Marx. Thank you. Well, here I am again with $2,000 for one of our couples. Bannerman, who's supposed to try for the $2,000?
Well, we invited some beekeepers and some girls who arrange weddings to the program tonight. And just before we went on the air, our studio audience selected Miss Myrna Cole and Mr. Herbert Hunt. And here they are. Folks, come in here and meet Groucho Marx.
Well, welcome for the DeSoto Plymouth Dealers. And you say the secret word and you'll divide $100. It's a common word, something you see every day. A beekeeper and a wedding arranger, eh? Mr. Herbert Hunt, you keep bees?
Yes.
I see. Where are you from? Honolulu?
No, I'm from Utah, Salt Lake City.
Salt Lake, eh? Now, Myrna Cole, my sweet man is calling me. What's your hometown, Myrna?
Billings, Montana.
Billings, Montana.
That's
How are
right.
the Billings in that town?
Oh,
Are they
just
pretty
fine.
good, eh? Well, give them my regards when you see them, eh? Now, you're the wedding director?
That's right.
Mm-hmm. Well, any married woman can claim that title. What sort of work does your husband do?
I'm not married.
Now you're talking, huh? You mean you don't patronize your own business?
Oh, I'm all for it. And
Well,
I'm
during
engaged.
Prohibition, bootleggers never drank their own stuff, you know. You approve of it, though.
Oh, I
huh?
think it's wonderful. I really do.
How come you direct weddings and yet you're still single? Don't you believe in marriage?
Oh, yes, and I plan on getting married real soon.
You do, huh?
Yes.
Well, that takes care of me. Well, let's talk about bees, Mr. Hunt. How many do you have?
Well, I have about 800 colonies.
800 colonies?
Yeah.
George Washington only had 13 colonies, and he was the father of our country. Now, just what is a colony, Mr. Hunt?
Oh, a colony is a swarm of bees in a hive.
Oh, then actually you have the hives, is that it?
Well, not lately.
Well, do you scratch for a living now that you have the hives?
No.
How many bees are there in a colony? Look how she looks at me. She's fascinated by me. Or is that revulsion? Fascinated. Thanks for lying, anyhow. How many bees are there in a colony, Mr. Hunt?
About 15 pounds.
And how many bees are there in 15 pounds?
About 75,000 bees. About 5,000 to the pound.
How do you know? Did you ever count them?
Oh, no.
I see. Well, how many bees do you think there are in 15 pounds of bees?
I have no idea.
You have no idea?
No
huh?
idea.
I'm surprised you don't know. As a wedding director, I would assume you know all about the birds and the bees. Now, Miss Cole, where do you direct your weddings?
Forest Lawn Memorial Park.
No wonder she was scrutinizing me so closely. And I thought it was love. Eh? That's a cemetery, isn't it?
Yes. However, we have weddings there also.
Mm-hmm. Specifically, what is your job, Myrna?
We counsel brides and grooms and help them in any way that we can. And we give them rehearsals and instructions and help them to make their wedding just as lovely as possible.
You rehearse them, you say?
That's right.
I noticed the word hearse is in there. Now, let's get back to your bees, which is a natural sequence from marriage. How does a bee go about getting the honey?
Well, she flies out in the sunshine when the flowers are producing nectar, gathers the nectar, flies back to the hive, transfers it to a young bee that's about 4 days old. And this young bee...
Well, now, wait a minute. How do they know the bee is 4 days old? Has it got a calendar on its tail or something?
They don't... That is not known except by the bees.
I see, and they're not talking, huh? All right, now, are bees alike? Don't they have kings and queens and dukes, etc.?
Oh, no. They have workers, drones, and a queen bee.
Mm-hmm. They have to have a queen, huh? Is she the boss?
No. She just lays the eggs.
Just sits there on her hives all day, huh?
And
she does nothing but lay eggs, huh?
that's all.
And you think that's nothing, eh? Have you ever tried to lay an egg?
No.
Now, how about the drones? What do they do?
The drones are the fathers in the hive.
Well, you're talking. The old man just sits around in his slippers all day and lets the little woman do the work. Is that it?
But it doesn't live long.
Maybe not, but he has a great time while it lasts. Vive la vie, that's all I can say. Well, you're a very interesting couple, and if I have a choice between matrimony and beekeeping, I'll take the hives. Now, in just a minute, you're going to play You Bet Your Life for a chance at $2,000. First, here's something important to you.
Friends, your DeSoto Plymouth dealer wants you to take the wheel of the mighty DeSoto Fire Dome 8 or the DeSoto PowerMaster 6. He invites you to take the 5-mile trial so you can judge for yourself the new power of the Fire Dome 8 under all road conditions. Here's what you'll discover. The DeSoto 160 horsepower Fire Dome V8 engine means more driving pleasure, quicker response, greater acceleration, easier hill climbing, and the ability to pass safely on the highway. It means more driving economy, more power from every drop of gas, and on regular gasoline. Also, in the 5-mile trial, you'll have the chance to try DeSoto Full Power Steering, the sensational development that lets you turn the wheel as easily as you dial a phone. Ask your DeSoto Plymouth dealer to let you take the 5-mile trial in the new DeSoto 160 horsepower Fire Dome 8 or the handsome PowerMaster 6. And remember, all dealers who sell DeSoto also sell Plymouth, the low-priced car most like high-priced cars.
George, would you mind explaining the rules of the game?
Of course.
Because I don't understand them.
Well, each of our 3 couples has $20, and they bet as much of that 20 as they want on each of 4 questions, and the couple that earns the most money gets a chance at the $2,000 DeSoto Plymouth question at the end of the show.
Here we go. Let's see how high I can build you $20. You selected modes of transportation. How much are you going to bet on your first question?
16? 16, okay? Is that okay?
Okay.
16? Okay, here we are. Early settlers from the east crossed the plains and deserts en route to the west in an oxen-drawn wagon. What was it called?
Covered wagon.
Covered wagon is right.
And you folks are on your way, too. You have $36.
I once had a covered wagon. I had an automobile with 3 mortgages on it. Remember, you're going for $2,000 tonight. Now, how much of the $32 will you bet on your second? $36. You're a perfect 36. How much are you going to bet on your second question? 32? All right. What's the boat called that conveys passengers across a river?
Ferry.
The ferry is right.
You people are really climbing. You have $68.
How much are you betting?
50?
$50? $50. What is the electric railway under the streets of a city called?
Subway.
Subway is right.
You have climbed to $118.
Got $118. Here's your last chance to be the other couples. How much are you going to bet?
Shoot the work? Okay.
Here we go. What's the name of the sealskin boat that Eskimos use?
Kayak.
Kayak is right.
And you wind up with a grand total of $236. Groucho, the secret word is still the same. It's sky. Just before we went on the air, our studio audience selected a nurseryman and a housewife, and here they come. Folks, come on over here and meet Groucho Marx, Mrs. Mary Duffy, and Mr. Robert Stansfield.
Welcome to You Bet Your Life. And if you say the secret word, you'll divide $100. It's a common word, something you see every day. Mrs. Mary Duffy, you're the housewife. Where are you from?
I'm from Alvord, Iowa.
Alvord, Iowa. Where's that near?
It's in Iowa, near Minnesota and South Dakota, near the...
It's in Iowa, but it's near Minnesota?
It's right near the South Dakota-Minnesota line.
Oh, well, you've got me fairly well confused, Mary. Your name is Robert Stansfield?
That's right.
And you're the nurseryman, eh?
That's correct.
Aren't you pretty old to be in a nursery? Which one are you from, Bob?
From Paul J. Howard's California Flowerland.
Oh, and what is your hometown?
Tunbridge Wells. That's in Kent, England.
Oh, you come from England, huh? Mm-hmm. And you were transplanted to California, is that right?
That's right, yes.
I'm surprised you don't have more of a pot. Are you married?
Yes, 2 children.
How did you meet your wife?
Well, it was during the war. I was in the British Navy, and...
What were you, a sailor?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
I guess I'm pretty shrewd, huh? How'd you meet your wife?
Well, while in San Francisco, I went to a United Services Club, and she was a hostess there.
You said you were in the British Navy? And what were you doing in San Francisco?
Well, we pulled in there for a little vacation.
Oh, and you met your wife there?
Yeah.
How did you meet your husband, Mrs. Duffy?
I met him in Sioux City, Iowa, in the stockyards.
What was he doing? Throwing the bull down there? What was he doing in the stockyards?
Well, he was working there.
At what?
Well, his job was to sort out the cows as he came into the yards. He'd put the old cows in one pen and the young cows in another pen.
He was sorting out the old cows and the young cows, and that's how he met you?
Sure. He was standing there waiting for some cows to come in, and I come along.
And you gave him a bum stare, I suppose, at the beginning, huh?
Well...
What happened?
I was walking along the fence on some grass, and
what were you, grazing?
I guess I was gawking around trying to see everything, and I was looking around, and so I stepped into a mud puddle, and I practically fell at his feet. I slipped in the mud and fell right in front of him. And he looked down and he said, "Well, you're the clumsiest cow I ever saw."
He always had a flair for romance, this fellow. Well, let's talk about nurseries. For example, why do they call them nurseries, Robert?
Well, the plants are just young little things, and, well, they have to be nursed along just like a baby.
Is that so?
Sure.
I'll have to drop around your place at mealtime. I'd like to see you bite a petunia. What is your job at this nursery, Bob?
Well, I'm a seedsman, or I work in the seed department at the store. Mm-hmm. It's interesting work.
And you advise the customers about their problems?
Yes. Oh, yes, that's one of our services.
Well, I have a lemon tree in my backyard, and the top half of the lemon is always kind of mushy and soft, and the bottom half is fine. And what's the matter with that tree?
Well, you probably didn't fertilize it fertilization is very important with citrus, and you probably didn't fertilize it at the right time of the year.
Now, suppose I told you that there were two trees next to each other, and the one tree is doing wonderfully, and the other one has these lemons on that are half rotten and half good. Oh. Riddle me that.
Kind of hard.
Come on, you're an expert now. I want an expert's opinion.
Well, you probably just bought a lemon.
That's very funny, but you're not helping my problem, man. That's true, you know. I'd like you to come out and look at those.
Well, I'd be very glad to do that.
Okay, I'll give you the address later. Huh?
All right.
And bring that girl that was at the forest lawn with you, huh? We can forget about the lemons. Now, there's something else I'd like to know. All my life, I've heard of shrinking violets. Now, honestly, do violets really shrink?
No, they definitely don't.
How do you know? Have you watched them hanging on a line? You rascal, you. I trap you like a fox traps a hare. Let's try it again. Now, careful now. Is it true that roses are always red?
No, roses are many colors.
Obviously, he knows rose better than I do. Now, specifically, what are some of your best sellers?
Well, you trapping me again?
No, I'm not trying to trap you this time.
Well, we have shrubs. There's the pittosporum or potastrum, as some people call it.
What's a potastrum?
Well, it's a pittosporum.
Well, that clears that up. Well, okay, now I know all about spring planting. Now, you two are going to play You Bet Your Life for a chance of $2,000. I can't tell you how much our first couple won, but Fenneman's offstage to remind our listeners.
The beekeeper and the wedding arranger won $236.
All right, here we go. Let's see how high I can bid you $20. You selected wives of nobility. Here's your first question. How much are you going to bet?
15.
15. Okay. What do you call the wife of a czar?
An empress.
You agree with that?
Czar?
No, I'm sorry. It's Tsarina.
You now have $5.
How much of the 5 you going to bet?
Oh, go on. Let's go 5, yeah.
$5, okay. What do you call the wife of a duke? You ought to know that.
Mm-hmm. Duchess.
The Duchess is right.
Well, you're climbing again. You have $10 now.
Here's the third question. How much of the 10 you going to go for?
Okay.
Okay, what do you call the wife of an emperor?
An empress.
Empress is right.
You're back. You have $20 now.
$20. Here's your last chance to beat the other couples. How much of the 20?
Mm-hmm. 20.
What do you call the wife of a baron? Baroness is right.
And we wind up with $40.
You made a comeback, and we'll see you later.
Groucho. The secret word is still sky. We invited some junior high school boys to the program tonight, and just before we went on the air, our studio audience selected Howard Brody. His partner is a member of the Parent Teachers Association, also chosen by the studio audience, Mrs. Priscilla Stell. Folks, come in here and meet Groucho Marx.
Well, welcome, youngsters, with the DeSoto Plymouth Dealers. You say the secret word, and you'll divide $100. It's a common word, something you see every day. Now, let's see. Mrs. Priscilla Steele. Stella? Stella. I'll call you Priscilla, huh?
Yes.
And you can call me John Alden. You're a member of the PTA?
Yes, in Glendale.
You're from Glendale?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And Mr. Howard Brody, that's
Yes,
you,
sir.
huh? How long have you been living in Los Angeles?
Oh, about 7 or 8 years, sir.
And where'd you live before then?
New York City.
Whereabouts?
New York City itself.
Oh, well, whereabouts in New York City?
Let's see,
Well,
I
that's
can't
close.
think now.
That's close enough. Huh? Where'd you live before then?
Oh, well, Cloud 7, I suppose.
Where?
Cloud 7.
Cloud 7? He's going to be difficult, I think. How old are you, Cloud 7?
13, sir.
18, huh?
Yes, sir.
And what sort of work does your wife do, Mr. Brody?
I don't have a wife.
You don't have a wife?
No.
And you're from New York City?
Yes.
What sort of work does your father do?
Well, he sells Dr. Scholl's corn pads.
He does?
Yes.
How did you meet your husband, Priscilla?
Well,
Speaking of corn pads.
I met him in the post office at Trona, California.
How many children do you have?
2, a boy and a girl.
And how'd you meet your husband?
In the post office at Trona, California.
Well, I mean, you just made a practice of going to the post office and picking out a husband?
No.
And now you have 2 children? You must have been hanging around general delivery. That worked out pretty well, didn't it? Huh? And you have 2 children?
Yes.
And how many children do you have, Mr. Brody?
I don't have any.
You don't have any children?
No.
Why not?
I'm not married.
Pretty happy about it, too. Have you got a girlfriend?
Well, sort of.
What do you mean, sort of? You're not sure she's a girl?
Well, she's a girl, all right.
She is, huh?
Yeah.
What does this charmer look like?
Well, she's about as tall as me or a little bit shorter. And,
She's not one of the 7 dwarfs, is she?
no. And she has blonde hair and blue eyes and green dress.
Don't ever get that confused, you know. How old is she?
She's 12 and a half.
12 and a half. How did you meet this femme fatale?
Well, she and I were in the same class at school.
Did you take her to the post office occasionally?
No.
Are you romantically inclined, Mr. Brody?
Well, I don't think so, but in a couple of years, I suppose.
You can bet on that, Mr. Brody. What is romance, anyway? How would you explain it? I mean, this inexplicable attachment that arises between a man and a woman.
Well, it's, well, when a man and a woman like each other and they buy a house.
Oh, if it were only that simple, huh? You mean that's all there is to it? They look at each other and he quick runs out and buys a bungalow.
No, they like each other a lot, and they want to live with each other, and they get married, and they buy a house, and they live.
Oh, I see. You may be only 13, but I must say you've really lived, Howard. Now, let's talk about the PTA. Just what is it precisely?
It's an organization of parents and teachers designed to bring the home and the school closer together.
Well, that's a worthy objective. Mr. Brody, what do you think?
Well, I think it's pretty good.
Do you think the home and the school should be brought closer together?
Yes.
Why do you think so?
Because it's too far for me to walk every morning.
I shouldn't think you'd mind that with this blonde charmer you've got with the green dress. Now, Mrs. Priscilla, which way is the PTA working? Are you planning on moving the schools or moving the boys' house?
Well, I think that's a silly question.
Priscilla, that's right. It is a silly question. But if I didn't ask silly questions right now, you'd be sitting at home listening to the weather report. What are the requirements for joining the PTA?
An interest in the welfare of children.
Mm-hmm. Well, are there any dues?
50 cents a year.
50 cents a year. Can men belong as well as women?
Oh, yes.
Mr. Brody, do you belong to the PTA?
No, sir.
You don't, huh? If you had 50 cents, would you join the PTA?
No.
Why not?
Because I'm not old enough.
What's the age limit for the PTA, Priscilla?
There is no age limit.
Takes care of that, Mr. Brody. Now will you join the PTA?
No.
Why not?
I haven't got any kids. Children.
Well, don't come running to me with your problem. How many men would you say there are in your PTA, Mrs.
Well, I'd
Stell?
say that 80% of the parents were women.
Is that so? Well, things have certainly changed since I was a lad. Well, you've been an interesting pair, and I'm sure that our schools are in good hands. Now you're going to play You Bet Your Life. You beat our other two couples, and you'll get a chance at the $2,000 DeSoto Plymouth question. I can't tell you how much our other couples won, but Fenneman's off stage to remind our listeners.
The beekeeper and the wedding arranger are still leading with $236.
You ready? Here we go. Let's see how high I can build you $20. You selected nicknames of famous people. Here's your first question. How much of the 20 are you going to try?
15.
15. What great boxer was known as the Manasseh Mauler?
Jack Dempsey.
Jack Dempsey is right.
And you're on your way. You have $35.
You got 35. Remember, you're going for $2,000 tonight. How much of the 35 are you going to try?
30.
What president was known as the Great Emancipator?
Abraham Lincoln.
Abraham Lincoln.
Now you have $65.
Now, how much will you bet at the 65?
60.
60, huh? Did you consult Priscilla?
Yes.
I see. You be drunk with power here. You know. What famous ball player was known as the Sultan of Swat?
Babe Ruth.
Babe Ruth is right.
You guys are really climbing. You have $125.
$125 is your last chance to be the other couples. How much of the 125 are you going to bet?
All of it.
All of it. Okay. Wait a minute.
All right, 100.
100. What fighter was known as the Brown Bomber?
Oh, Joe Louis.
Joe Louis is right.
And you'll wind up with $225. And that means the beekeeper and the wedding arranger with $236 get the chance at the DeSoto Plymouth $2,000 question.
That's a shame.
When your car needs the attention of an expert, there's one place to take it, to your DeSoto Plymouth dealers. You see, the master technicians at a DeSoto Plymouth dealers know your car, and they know their business. They get continuous training, supervised by factory service executives. For example, more than 6,000 of these DeSoto Plymouth dealer mechanics just recently attended 252 special training schools in all parts of the nation. They got additional training in all phases of repair and maintenance and studied new service techniques. Continuous training like this, in addition to their years of experience, naturally makes the skilled mechanics at a DeSoto Plymouth dealers the best qualified men to service your car. It means your car gets the finest care at a real saving to your pocketbook when you take it where you see the famous sign of better service, the friendly sign of a DeSoto Plymouth dealer. And here's the beekeeper and the wedding arranger.
Where is the beekeeper?
They're going to be here right here.
Well, why do you say they're here when they're not even out here?
This is our winning couple, Groucho.
The beekeeper hasn't got his mind on those hives either.
All set for the $2,000 DeSoto Plymouth question.
Okay, and don't be so somber, Fenneman.
It's an exciting moment, believe me.
Not for you, it won't be. You won't get a quarter out of it. Here we go for $2,000. I'll give you 15 seconds to decide on a single answer between you. Think carefully and no help from the audience, please. Here it is. James Madison's opponent for the presidency was a man whose picture millions of people see every day on cigarette packs. Who is it?
Walter Raleigh?
No. I'm sorry, it's DeWitt Clinton.
Oh, on the,
Yes, it's on the little green thing there, on the government stamp. So that means the big question next week will be worth $2,500. Well, you lost the big money, but you won how much?
$236 in the quiz.
Well, that ain't hay, it's not even bees. And congratulations and thanks to both of you and to all of our contestants on the show tonight.
Be sure to tune in again next Wednesday night at this same time for the Best of Groucho from the You Bet Your Life series. Don't miss the Best of Groucho on television, too. Also presented by the DeSoto Plymouth Dealers of America. And remember, all dealers who sell DeSoto also sell Plymouth. Two great cars, both products of the Chrysler Corporation.
And when you drive in, tell them Groucho sent you. Good night, folks, and remember, see the DeSoto Fire Dome 8 tomorrow.
Folks, here's a reminder from the National Safety Council. There's no trick to safety. It's just common sense. You Bet Your Life, transcribed from Hollywood, is produced by John Goodell, directed by Robert Dwan and Bernie Smith, music by Jerry Fielding. This is George Fenneman signing off for the more than 3,000 DeSoto Plymouth dealers from coast to coast. Ladies and gentlemen, the secret word tonight is door. D-O-O-R.
Really?
You Bet Your Life. The more than 3,000 DeSoto Plymouth Dealers of America present the Best of Groucho. Yes, friends, it's a Groucho summertime. By popular demand from your letters, from rating histories, and the acclaim of critics, the DeSoto Plymouth Dealers bring you selected shows from You Bet Your Life, the comedy quiz series produced and transcribed from Hollywood. Groucho Marx is on vacation, friends, and will return in the fall. Until then, it's fun and laughs each week this summer as we proudly present some of the best of Groucho's past shows. And here he is, the one, the only...
That's me, Groucho Marx. Well, here I am again with $2,500 for one of our couples. George Fenneman, who's first to try for the $2,500?
Just before we went on the air, we asked if there were any young single people present tonight, and our studio audience selected Miss Nina Kramer, Mr. Clarence Allen, and here they are. Folks, come on in here and meet Groucho Marx.
Well, welcome for the DeSoto Plymouth dealers. And you say the secret word, you'll divide $100. It's a common word, something you'll find around the house. You're both single, eh? And would like to get married someday. Well, shake hands with Omar the matchmaker. Miss Nina, is that the way you pronounce it? Nina?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, what are you, formerly a 10-pin or something? Isn't N-I-N-A Nina?
No, it's Nina.
It's Nina?
Yes, it is.
Well, Nina or a tenor, doesn't make any difference. I used to know a tenor named Nina. Where are you from, Nina?
I'm originally from Chicago.
Uh-huh. How original were you in Chicago?
19 years ago.
19 years ago? Then you've been here about 2 years, is that right?
No, I've been here about 10 years.
Oh, you're not 29, are you?
Now you've got me confused. No, I'm 19.
You left Chicago 19 years ago and you're 19 years old?
No, I was 19.
How did you come out? By bassinet? Would you mind repeating that whole thing again? How old are you?
I'm 19.
19?
Yes.
How long since you left Chicago?
Oh, about 10 years.
Oh, I see. That would make you 14 years old.
You could leave it at that.
Okay, leave it. And what's your hometown, sonny boy? Clarence?
I'm from Claremont, California.
Claremont?
Claremont.
I thought that was in Oklahoma.
Not the one in California.
Probably not. And I guess the one in Oklahoma is not the same one that's in California. Right? That's where Will Rogers comes from, you know.
Oh, he does?
Claremont. See, now you've learned something tonight. That'll cost you $3. What is your age, Clarence?
I'm 25.
25. And how long since you left Chicago?
How long since I left Chicago? Some time ago.
Some time. And then you must be 19 years old, huh? What kind of work do you do, Clarence?
I'm a geologist.
Don't change the subject. I asked you what kind of work. Well, geologists are really doing a wonderful work these days. Now, what do they do?
Oh, we study rocks, hunt for minerals, hunt for oil, hunt for anything valuable in the Earth's surface. You actually look for rocks, is that it? That's right. Just wanted to be sure on this program. We never take anything for granted, you know. Stop groaning. It's free, you know this. Nobody forced you to come down here tonight. I could have used all your tickets tonight. Now, as a mining engineer, what would you say is the most valuable mineral? I'd say coal. You would, huh? How about uranium? Do you ever look for that? Oh, yes, we look for uranium, although it's scarce enough around here, so normally it's only when we're looking for some other mineral as well. You mean if you want to find uranium, you have to look for something else? Well, that's what we do, yes. That's kind of ridiculous. Why don't you start out looking for uranium? And then maybe you'd find coal. What would happen if I said I know where you can find uranium? Well, if you actually did have uranium, send to Washington, you stand a chance of getting a $10,000 bonus from the government. There's a $50,000 reward for me out now from the government. Nina, what sort of work do you do?
I'm a librarian.
A librarian? Really? Is that so? I didn't realize librarians came this young.
Oh, well, there are lots of young girls in libraries.
Oh, is that so? I guess we'll have to start reading again. Now, what library do you work for?
The Beverly Hills Public Library.
Really? I live in Beverly Hills. I don't think I've been there. Where is it located?
Well, it's in the city hall right next to the police station.
Well, I've been there, all right. On the other hand, maybe it was the library. As I recall, they booked me at the time. Does anything exciting ever happen in the library?
Well, it's usually pretty quiet. But the other day something happened. We usually send the police out after someone who keeps a book too long. Mm-hmm. And they'd been looking for a certain man for a long time. He'd had a book for months. And they finally found him in the city jail, which is right next door to the library.
Well, Nina, you said door, and you and geology over here split $100 between you. Now, let's see how well you work together as a team. Now, in just 1 minute, you're going to play You Bet Your Life for a chance at $2,500. But first, there's something I want you to pay close attention to.
Listen to what Groucho Marx himself says about DeSoto Full Power Steering, the sensational new DeSoto feature that lets you turn the steering wheel almost without effort, even when the car is at a standstill.
Frankly, I didn't believe this till I actually tried it myself. You can turn the wheel with just one finger. It's as easy as dialing a phone.
Right, Groucho. And friends, if you haven't yet tried DeSoto Full Power Steering, do it now. DeSoto Full, not partial, but full power steering does the work of steering for you. And that's true whether your car is moving or at an absolute standstill. It makes parking a cinch. Gone is the pulling and tugging of other days. You can turn the steering wheel with one finger. And out on the highway, DeSoto Full Power Steering makes driving easier and safer and less tiring. Believe me, there's no other type of power steering to compare with it. Tomorrow, stop at your DeSoto Plymouth dealers and take the 5-mile trial in the DeSoto Fire Dome 8 with a 160 horsepower V8 engine or the handsome DeSoto PowerMaster 6. See for yourself how easy it is to drive and to park with DeSoto's full power steering. And remember, all dealers who sell DeSoto also sell Plymouth, the low-priced car most like high-priced cars.
Now, let's see if you'll get a chance at the $2,500. George, explain the rules.
You bet as much of your $20 as you want on each of 4 questions, and the couple that earns the most money gets a chance at the $2,500 DeSoto Plymouth question at the end of the show.
Let's see how high I can build you $20. You selected animals and nursery rhymes. Here's your first question. How much will you bet?
18. Sounds good.
18. All right. What kind of a pet did old Mother Hubbard have?
A dog.
A dog is correct.
Well, you're on your way. You have $38.
Remember, you're going for $2,500 tonight. Now, how much of the 38 are you going to bet on this one?
36.
What ran after the farmer's wife?
3 blind mice.
3 blind mice. That's right.
I should say you are doing mighty well. You have $74.
$74. Here's your third question. How much you going to go for?
70?
73.
73. What did Bo Peep tend?
Sheep.
Sheep is right. Peter Hansen right.
You have $147.
Don't be so solemn. Here's King Solomon's daughter over here. Huh? Wives. Here's your last chance to beat the other couples. How much you going to bet?
147. How does that sound?
All right.
How much have they got?
147 to win the whole thing, huh?
Okay, whole thing.
Okay. What did Tom the Piper's son swipe?
Pig.
A pig is right.
And you two wind up with a grand total of $294.
And Major Ross Crosley, what is your hometown, Major?
My home is Columbus, Ohio.
Are you married, Maj?
Yes, sir. Very much so.
Did you volunteer or were you drafted?
Sir, I volunteered.
Should have married the Army. After 20 years, the Army gives you a pension. How long you been married, Sylvia?
4 months.
4 months, huh? First time out?
Yeah.
That's what they say at the racetrack. It's good enough for me. Huh? You've been married 4 months, huh? Did you volunteer or were you drafted, Sylvia?
Drafted.
Now, how long you been married, Major?
Groucho, I've been married for 13 years.
13 years.
13 years.
And how long you been in the Army?
9 years.
Which seems longer now. Be careful.
Well, I guess the Army
He's no fool, this guy. If he insults the Army, all they can do is cut off his buttons, throw him in the guardhouse, and shoot him at sunrise. I never did understand that shooting at sunrise. Suppose it's raining, then they don't shoot you at all? Now, how did you meet your commanding officer?
Groucho, I just don't remember, but I believe it was at a box social at a church.
What is a box social? You eat one of these dinners and then you wind up in a box? Is that it?
Everybody brings a box, or and then whose ever name was in the box, of course, you had to eat with
like
them.
like a raffle, huh?
That's right. That's right.
Now, which branch of the service are you in?
I'm in the Quartermaster Corps.
Now, what do you do as a quartermaster?
Well, we supervise the procurement of perishable foods for the armed forces.
Could you give us a sample shopping day? What did you buy for the Army today?
Well, we bought about 35,000 pounds of beef. We bought, I think it was around 60,000 pounds of oranges, about 15,000 gallons of milk.
And that's just one day shopping.
Yes, sir.
I don't see how you get it all in one of those little baskets. And when you buy in such large quantities, how do you know you're not getting stung?
Well, we have everything inspected. If we, for example, if we buy meat, why, we have the veterinarian inspect all of it.
Where do you buy your meat? Santa Anita?
No, we buy our meat in the manner, as I just told you, from the packing houses and so forth.
Now, suppose you buy a carload of strawberries. Do you turn the train over to see if the bad ones are on the bottom? Now, Mrs. Sparks, speaking of food, what methods do you have for keeping your food bill within your budget?
Well, I usually make out a budget Monday and, just plan different menus for the week.
Mm-hmm. You're a very shrewd little manager. Do you ever spend more than you have in your budget?
Oh, well, 1 month I did.
And doesn't your husband object?
Oh, he doesn't know about it.
That's what I said. You're a very shrewd little manager. Well, I've learned a lot about shopping tonight. Now, let's see if you two can win a little grocery money. You might win $2,500. Run you $20 into more than our other couples. I can't tell you how much our first couple won, but Fenneman's off stage to remind our listeners.
The librarian and the engineer won $294.
Here we go. Let's see how high I can build you $20. You select the George Washington as your subject. Here's your first question. How much will you bet?
Let's make it 15.
15? What is the name of George Washington's home?
Mount Vernon.
Mount Vernon is correct. Off to a good start.
You have $35.
Remember, you're going for $2,500 tonight. Now, how much of the 35 you're going to go for?
Oh, we'll go for 20.
20? Is that all right, Mrs.
Yes.
Sparks? What's the first name of George Washington's wife?
Martha.
Martha is right.
You're now at $55.
She certainly had a lot of candy stores at one time. Yeah. Here's your third question. How much of the 55 you're going to bet?
We bet it all.
You're going to bet the 55? All right. Where did Washington's army spend the bitter winter of 1777?
Valley Forge.
Valley Forge, and you're right.
Now you have $110.
You got $110, and here's your last chance to beat the others. Now, how much are you going to bet?
90.
90, is that all right, Sylvia? In what state was George Washington born?
Virginia.
Virginia is correct. Put it there, Major. Okay.
You've ended up with a grand total of $200, and thank you very much. Well, Groucho, the secret word is still the same. It's door.
Talk slow, like it'll drag of this.
All right. I was going to say that we invited some girl swimmers to the program tonight, and just before we went on the air, our studio audience selected Norma Weltz. Her partner is a sculptor, Mr. Yuka Solomunik. And here they are. Folks, come in here and meet Groucho Marx.
Welcome, folks, for the DeSoto Plymouth dealers. Say the secret word and divide $100. It's a common word, something you'll find around the house. A girl swimmer and a sculptor, eh? Norma Wells, is that?
That's right. Uh-huh.
You're a very pretty girl, Norma, and I'm disappointed that you're not wearing a bathing suit.
Sorry.
Well, you're not half as sorry as I am. Yuka Solomunik?
That's right.
That's a very famous name. I've often seen it in the menu at the Brown Derby. You're some kind of an hors d'oeuvre, aren't you?
No, I'm a sculptor.
A sculptor, huh? Oh. How did you ever get a name like Yuka Solomunik?
Just like you did. My parents give it to me.
As far as I know, your parents didn't even know me. Where are you from, Mr. Solomunik?
I was born in Yugoslavia.
Why did you come to California?
My doctor advised me to get rid of my sinus trouble I have.
And did you get rid of your sinus?
It's worse than before.
Well, in that case, it's a good thing you came to California. At least you did get rid of your doctor. Could you sound off in Yugoslavian, Yucca?
Sure.
I speak it very well, you know. Go ahead, say something.
Ti imaš veoma dobru glavu.
Oh, you're a southern Yugoslavian. Okay, I give up. What did you say?
You have very interesting head.
It's really nothing. As a matter of fact, it is nothing. I've seen better heads on a glass of beer. Are you married, Yuck?
Yeah.
I'll call you Yuck. We get familiar very swiftly on this show. You're married, Yuck?
Yeah.
How'd you meet your wife?
Well, she used to come to my classes where I used to lecture in the sculpturing, on sculpturing.
And how did you meet her? She was sitting in the audience? And
yes,
she was spellbound at your lecture?
She was not spellbound, but she was attracted to me, you see, and I had fallen in love with her nose.
You fell in love with her nose?
That's right.
Did she have it with her?
Yeah.
Now, Norma, that's a very pretty name, Norman. You're a very pretty girl. Huh?
Thank you.
Have you always been this pretty?
Well, I guess so.
You're a swimmer. Do you swim for a living?
No, I'm a low freshman at SC.
What kind of course are you taking there? 3 points to the starboard?
No, elementary education.
Why are you taking that kind of a course?
Well, I like children, and I'd be teaching little children in the 2nd or 3rd grade.
Oh, I see. You want to be a teacher,
Yes,
is that?
uh-huh.
Are you being rushed by any of the fraternities at school?
No, you mean sororities. Fraternities don't rush women.
Things have certainly changed since I went to school. We used to rush anything. Are you going to take up swimming professionally, Norma?
I don't know. I haven't decided yet.
No.
It depends on how good I get eventually.
Uh-huh. Have you won any titles?
Yes, I'm the present junior 100-meter backstroke champion. I was also on the 4-man freestyle relay team that won the junior championship.
Mm-hmm. Well, what are the advantages of swimming as compared with other sports?
Well,
like shooting pool.
Well, it's a good social, good outdoors, and...
You mean you meet people swimming up and down? Oh, why don't I keep my mouth shut? You and your partner over here just split $100 between you. Now, what do you say to the advantages of swimming? And don't say doors again, because you've been paid. Huh?
Well, one thing that, of course, I always look for is that most swimmers usually have a nice figure, and you just can't help it.
You think swimming gives them a good figure, huh? Well, it isn't quite true. Have you ever taken a good look at a whale? Mr. Solomunic, haven't you got a nickname? What'll I call you? You don't want me to call you Yuck, huh?
Call me Yuck or George.
I'll call you Yuck.
I like it better, too.
Let's talk about sculpturing. How did you acquire this skill?
Well, first I was born.
Well,
then
that's reasonable to believe.
Then I went to a famous academy to study.
Well, how did you decide to become a sculptor?
I kind of like it, appealed to my sense. I study technical things about sculpture, history of art, and anatomy.
Well, I've studied anatomy, but I doubt if I could ever be a sculptor. However, I'm told I'm a pretty good chiseler. Now, do you think that Norma here would make a good statue?
I think she would. She has a very fine proportion head. A very beautiful nose.
Steady there, Yuck. Now, when you see a beautiful woman, what's the first thing an artist like yourself looks for? What a ridiculous question.
I look at her
eyes. Pardon me, I didn't hear what you said.
I say I look at her eyes.
You look at the eyes first?
Yes.
Well, I can see I'd be a total loss as a sculptor. Now, Yuck, look into Norma's eyes and tell me, what does she look like inside?
I think she has a very beautiful soul, no? Very fine expression, very depth. She's a good person. I can see it.
You keep looking on the inside, I'll keep looking on the outside. Now, Yuck, have you done any well-known people in bronze or stone?
Yes. I did
Who?
one of the President Roosevelt before he
President
died.
Roosevelt? Well, you
Yes.
must be very good, huh? And how was he? Was he quiet when?
It was very interesting. You see, during this work, he asked me, he says, what do you want me to do? I told him to keep his mouth closed, you see. And
Are you a Republican?
No. The next day, the newspaper misinterpreted my story, and I told him to keep his mouth shut. Of course, I didn't. I just told him to keep his mouth closed because, when you work, you have to keep your mouth closed,
Who are some of the other well-known people you've chiseled, modeled, sculpted?
Well, I did Jan Sibelius, the Finnish composer.
Sibelius?
Yes.
Really? Is that so?
John Barrymore before he died, and Joan Crawford, and Ginger Rogers, and Veronica Lake, and you can go on through the list of the whole Hollywood.
Well, Mr. Salamunich, I want to tell you that we're honored to have you here. I had no idea that you were such a talented sculptor.
Thank you.
There's one more thing. Would you be interested in doing my statue?
I would.
Why?
Because you ought to be in a museum like all famous people.
How do you like that? I'm in the prime of life, and he wants to put me in a museum. Well, thanks to you two, I know all about swimming and sculpting, and if I ever decide to have my statue carved, I'll go jump in the lake. Well, let's see how well you make out in the quiz. You run your $20 and the more than our other couples, and you'll get a chance at the $2,500 question. Now, I can't tell you how much our other couples won, but George Fenneman is off stage to remind our listeners.
The librarian and the engineer are still ahead with $294.
Here we go. Let's see how high I can build you $20. You selected international landmarks.
Mm-hmm.
Here's your first question. How much of the 20 are you going to risk?
$15, yeah.
15? In what country do you find the pyramids?
In Egypt.
Egypt is right.
And you're off to a good start. You have $35.
You got $35. Remember, you're going for $2,500 tonight. Now, how much of the 35 are you going to bet on this?
30.
Okay.
30. In what country do you find the Louvre? Louvre.
Louvre in France.
In France is right.
Now you have $65.
$65. How much are you going to bet this time?
How much we have?
You have 65.
We bet 60.
Okay, 60.
Yuck is a real chiseler. In what country do you find the Leaning Tower?
In Pisa, Italy.
In Italy is right.
Now you climb to $125.
$125 is your last chance to beat the other couples. How much are you going to go for?
How much we have?
125 we've got.
Let's put 125. Yeah.
Okay, the whole works.
Here we go. In what country do you find the Acropolis?
In Greece.
In Greece is right.
And you wind up with a grand total of $250. And that means the librarian and the geologist with $294 get the chance at the DeSoto Plymouth $2,500 question.
Fenneman, I'll ask him the question in 1 minute, but first, here's something of special interest.
Friends, one thing you'll find whenever you're out driving this summer, wherever you go, across town or hundreds of miles from home, you'll never be far from a DeSoto Plymouth dealer. Those familiar DeSoto Plymouth dealer signs are spread across the nation, and every one is an invitation to you to stop in and get acquainted. Whether you stop for directions or an emergency service job, you can be sure you'll get courteous attention, a friendly smile, and most important, fast, expert service. Yes, anytime, anywhere you're driving, and you'll see the sign of a DeSoto Plymouth dealer. Remember, it's the sign of better service, faster service, and a fair and square deal every time. And here comes the librarian and the geologist all ready for the DeSoto Plymouth $2,500 question.
Here we go for $2,500. I'll give you 15 seconds to decide on a single answer between you, so think carefully and please, no help from the audience. Here it is. If the President of the United States and the Vice President should both resign, who is next in line to succeed to the office of Chief Executive?
All right, what is the answer you two have decided upon?
We'll say the Secretary of State.
No, I'm sorry. According to law passed in 1947, the Speaker of the House of Representatives. Well, you lost the big money, but you won how much?
$294.
$294 in the quiz and $100 in the secret word. That's $394. Congratulations and thanks to both of you and to all of our contestants on the show tonight.
Be sure to tune in again next Wednesday night at this same time for the Best of Groucho from the You Bet Your Life series. Don't miss the Best of Groucho on television, too. Also presented by the DeSoto Plymouth Dealers of America. And remember, all dealers who sell DeSoto also sell Plymouth. Two great cars, both products of the Chrysler Corporation.
And when you drive in, tell them Groucho sent you. Good night, folks, and remember, see the DeSoto Fire Dome 8 tomorrow.
Folks, here's a rhyme from the National Safety Council. The rules for driving safely add up to only 3: common sense and caution and common courtesy. You Bet Your Life, transcribed from Hollywood, is produced by John Goodell, directed by Robert Dwan and Bernie Smith, music by Jerry Fielding. This is George Fenneman signing off for the more than 3,000 DeSoto Plymouth dealers from coast to coast.